Today's segment will be about waste-to-energy incinerators. I will provide you with a brief overview of its history, its mechanisms, how it's polluted our air, and the burden of its exposure. Lastly, I will discuss the policies implemented to improve WTE facilities and compare the Baltimore Refuse Energy Systems Company with Eureka Recycling. The process, known as waste-to-energy incineration, is a development that chemically converts the waste that humans produce into daily serviceable energy. Albert Fryer introduced what was then known as the destructor about 120 years ago. The first ever incinerator was built in 1874 in Nottingham, UK. 10 years later, in 1885, the United States built its first incinerator in Governor's Island, New York. How does incineration work? Trucks load about 4.4 pounds of waste to the site every day and dump it onto the tipping floor. At the tipping floor, the waste is visually inspected for unacceptable items which are removed from recycling or proper disposal. Waste is then mixed together and transferred to the combustion chamber. One load can be combusted every 1 to 2 hours at 2,000 degrees. Pressurized steam resulting from the process spins a turbine to produce electricity, and high-pressure steam which is used for heating and cooling some downtown buildings and to make electricity. Pollution and human health. Unfortunately, with many of the advantages it presents with reduction to waste, it also has presented many disadvantages over the years. Pollution is a major disadvantage which has affected human health. Plants are often sited in cities already dealing with other polluting facilities, including high rates of asthma and respiratory disease. They are often sited in low-income communities like Curtis Bay in Baltimore and communities of color that are already overburdened with a lot of air pollution. Though most incineration are located in rural areas, pollution travels, and significant levels of ozone pollution can be detected in rural areas as far as 250 miles, downwind from the urban industrial zones. Unfortunately, pollution has no border control. About 70% of the ozone levels recorded in Maryland are accounted by the upwind states. Incineration systems produce a range of pollution that are unfavorable to the human health. The gases produced by incinerations are carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxide. Nitrogen oxide is the cause of ozone, which has increased the number of asthma cases in the United States. Nitrogen is released into the air, combined with oxygen and sunlight to form ground-level ozone. When ozone is inhaled, it travels through the respiratory tract, weakening lung tissues and causing further respiratory problems. WHO states, incidence of asthma, decreased lung function growth, lung cancer, and total mortality are the main outcomes. At levels currently observed in Europe, the evidence linking ozone exposure to asthma incidence and prevalence in children and adults is not consistent. Available evidence suggests that long-term ozone exposure reduces lung function growth in children. There is little evidence for an independent long-term ozone effect on lung cancer or total mortality. Moving on to current policies. There are many organizations and policies that have worked towards improving air quality and regulating pollution released from incinerators. Though we have made significant progress with some of these regulations, the United States still has ways to go. The Environmental Protection Agency, or better known as the EPA, aims to protect public health and public welfare from unfavorable pollutions. Along with the Clean Air Act, states have established implementation plans to control ozone regulations. Certain states, including Maryland, have just started to fall under the ozone air pollution regulations, lowering the standard from 75 parts per billion to 70 parts per billion. As the states are gradually working with their waste-to-energy incinerations towards decreasing levels of nitrogen into the air, there are still many factors that can be done before waste is produced. Bresco versus Eureka Recycling. The Baltimore Refuse Energy System Company has been standing as Baltimore's emblem since 1985, disposing up to 2,250 tons of municipal solid waste a day for Baltimore counties and other areas of Maryland, recovering metals from ash residue and allowing 80% of the material burned with the facility is compostable and recyclable. In downtown Baltimore, heating and cooling systems, as well as electricity, is supplied by the high-pressured steam that is produced by the incinerator. However, it is the city's biggest source of nitrogen oxide. A recent article in the Baltimore Brew explains, at 3 million pounds annually, the incinerator accounts for more than 37% of all of the stationary emissions in Baltimore. This 64-megawatt plant only employs 70 people within the region. Ideally, the public, whom are concerned with our health, would like to replace Baltimore Resco rather than renew its contract. The public prefers a more favorable facility, such as Eureka Recycling, that ensures all waste to be recyclable. This nonprofit organization, located in Minneapolis, touts its living wages for employees with low rates of material left unrecycled and commitment to reusing material for new products locally. Their goal since 2001 has been to increase recycling and avoid landfills and incinerators, as well as selling recycled goods as a growing feedstock for new products. Eureka comes with substantial benefits which include providing jobs, ultimately boosting the economy, and reducing carbon emissions, as there is no need to haul materials in gas-guzzling trucks out of the region. Unlike Bresco, with their 70 employees, a control agency in Minneapolis estimated 60,250 new jobs and $3.4 billion in wages within Eureka Recycling. Eureka has grown to establish itself as a known and functioning recycling business for another 15 years, providing the rest of the United States with a business model they could implement. With all that in mind, Bresco only has 5 years left on its contract. I can only hope the city officials will agree that Baltimore needs to move away from incinerators and concentrate more on establishing a recycling business like Eureka. There are many ways you can contribute and play your part in reducing waste as well. Reducing your waste into the proper bins provided by your county is a simple way to help speed up the process. Just keep in mind the benefits of recycling. It reduces the amount of waste sent to landfills and combustion facilities. It conserves natural resources, such as timber, water, and minerals. It prevents pollution by reducing the need to collect new raw materials, saves energy, and reduces greenhouse gas emissions that contribute to global climate change. It also helps sustain the environment for future generations and helps create a new well-paying jobs in the recycling and manufacturing industries in the United States. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Waste to Energy Incinerators. This is Mina signing out.